What is going on, guys? Dakota from D Caldwell Photography, and in today's video we're going to walk through some compositional tips on how I got these shots that you see on the screen right here. So there was actually an air show during the time we shot down here in Chicago. So all of the audio that I had planned for this is completely shot. So that's why we're going to do a voiceover, and we're just going to walk through some of my thinking behind the shots that we displayed on the screen here, and we'll display throughout the video, and just kind of give you guys a look into my mind and what I'm thinking during my shoots. Today we are shooting with our lovely model Christina, and I'm going to be using the Canon R5 and the 200mm f2 lens that I have fallen in love with. It's probably about the third or fourth shoot that I've used this lens with, and I'm completely satisfied with just how amazing the photos are. But let's not dive too much into that, because I can talk about that 200mm for hours. We're gonna start off with test shots. So usually after introductions and all that other fun stuff, I line the model usually up somewhere within the area that we met, and then we just run some test shots, just making sure that my ISO, my shutter speed, all that stuff is good to go. Of course, you have to adjust it on scene when you're shooting in daylight, but just making sure that it's good for wherever you're at that time. We're right here in just a bright open area, so I'm just getting some shots of Christina, and they turned out pretty well. Sometimes during the test shot phase, you get some really awesome looking portraits. In this scenario, the lighting wasn't to my liking, so I went ahead and converted this photo to be black and white instead, fixing some of the shadows to make it a little bit more moodier, and I think it turned out really well. Check this out. So next we migrated over to a residential area with a lot of greenery. I just love in the summertime how the leaves on the trees and the bushes are really dark green. It gives that contrasty and just color pop feel to your photos. So I wanted Christina to lean on the rail next to all of that greenery so we can capture her and all of that together. And I think they turned out really well. Plus, combining this composition with an f2 aperture, you get that creamy bokeh look on some of that greenery in the background. The best part about having a 200mm f2 lens is the compression that you get when using this. So these photos of Christina on the screen here, the background is completely obliterated. She looks like she's the only thing that matters within the photo. And that's what I love about these longer focal length lenses, is that the compression completely just gets rid of the background and your model is the only focus of the photo. I've been working on my horizontal portrait photography game. I'm usually only shooting vertical, so I really want to get into the habit more of shooting horizontally. So we found this little rock section where I wanted Christina to sit at, and you really have to be careful with stuff like this, because shooting straight forward, like some of these photos here, it kind of makes for a boring composition, right? There's nothing really to it. Yes, it looks pretty cool because, again, the compression of this lens completely destroys the background, but if you want to get a better shot, try going at an angle, preferably a lower angle, to then capture Christina sitting and have her look towards you like this photo here. Staircases are some of my more favorite spots to shoot at when outside. So when I saw this one, I absolutely knew it was time to go to work. So we did a couple shots here. I had Christina just stand on the stairs, and we just did a couple freelance poses, you know, let the model kind of dictate what they're going to do for these type of shots, because there's so much to work with. And then if there's a specific thing that you're looking for, like this shot of her leaning on the guardrail, make sure that you let them know. But always just kind of let them get a feel, especially when they're good at what they do. They'll kind of work that area and give you some really awesome shots. You just need to make sure that you're capturing them from different angles and not just shooting straight on. If staircases are one of my favorite spots to shoot at when outside, then bridges are probably my absolute favorite. There's so much that you can do with a bridge. I absolutely love photos, full body shots in particular, where the model is standing right in the middle of the bridge. That perfect symmetry in the middle, and then you get an awesome shot. Don't be afraid to use the bridge railings as an area where the model can pose up against, but please be very cautious of where you're positioning your models, as you don't want to have images where things look like they're popping out of their head, like this one on the screen here. You always want to position your model somewhere where the background isn't going to be too busy and is not taking away from the actual composition of the photo. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, but Dakota, you have a 200mm f2 lens. That piece in the background is blurred out. Yes, it is kind of blurred out, but it still bothers me that it's hitting the back of her head. And after you've been doing this for a while, you'll kind of learn different tips and tricks, and you don't want anything to take away from your photo. So even though it's a decent photo, but it's just a pet peeve of mine when there's things in the background that distract from the actual composition of the photo. So I preferably move Christina over right in the middle of like that little pole section, and it created a much better shot. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button as well so you don't miss any upcoming content from my channel. Thank you again, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.